Great, all right. Let's start this all over again. Let's call the meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Pat. Welcome, Jennifer, online. And can we have approval of the agenda? Does anybody have anything to add for that first? I should ask. Anything to add to our agenda? No? Okay, motion to approve the agenda, Deputy Mayor, and seconded by Councillor Walsh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And thank you. Motion's carried. Move on to 3, approval of the minutes, October 1, 2025. Anybody note any errors or omissions to that?
Nope.
None. Hearing none, we'll approve them as circulated. And we'll go to the review of the action items. Jennifer, is there any there that you want to highlight for us?
Nothing to highlight. There's nothing new to report since the last meeting.
Okay. And council, any questions for Jennifer on any of these?
Just one.
Okay,
How hard is it to cut a key? I mean, I got keys for cottages, houses and that. I'm not even really so much worried about the fob now, but this has been months and months where simple key cutting would have solved the problem. That was my only thing. How long does it take to cut a key?
is this a special key, Jennifer, do you know, that needs to be done by a locksmith, or is this one that we can cut at the hardware store?
I believe they are keys that have to be done by a locksmith, and I think we do now have some. I defer to Aaron to answer that.
I can get back to you probably tomorrow on if we have external keys.
Yep.
We have been getting some cut as we run short. Yeah, so let me check to see if we have an external key.
Okay, so that, like I said, it's just been 3 months and 3 months to get a key cut. That was the only thing, so I could.
Okay, no, point made. Yes, council.
If I may recommend from my time at the post office, if you go to Home Hardware, always go to the oldest looking staff.
This is a key that has to come from a specific locksmith.
Ah,
Yeah, there's no Home Hardware or Bargain Harleys. It's a little different. But I can get that to people tomorrow.
So we'll let Aaron follow up on that.
Young people just don't seem to have the key cutting skill.
Any other questions? On that? All right, let's move on to councillor announcements. Does anybody have?
Well,
Councillor Clark.
I have one and actually, both Councillor Goddard and I yesterday were at the Ready Together Evacuation and Recovery session that was hosted by the Evangeline Mental Health Hub in Easton Lions event. And all I want to say is it was a really quite an uplifting event when you sort of think about it, because it was one of these events where you suddenly realize that there's an incredible strength in our communities and real resilience. Like these, the people who spoke and the things that they were able to do through, particularly the West Dalhousie community, just has been amazing. And I think that's reassuring when we look at what we might be facing in the future. The other speakers were all really, really good, and it was a great attendance.
Yeah, we were fortunate, we got a 15-minute break because one of the presenters couldn't make it.
I was only in as an unofficial presenter, to be fair. I was a last minute addition from my sister. So I couldn't make it. I wanted to, but didn't have the leeway to get away.
It provided us a nice little break.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Networking option.
Yeah.
Councillor Goddard.
Legion Poppy Stations will be open on Friday, October 31st. Remembrance Day Parade will be starting at Foodland again this year at 10:50 on November 11th, for those who want to walk in the parade, and goes to the cenotaph at the Berwick Elementary School. After the service, a light lunch will be served at the Legion. All are welcome. It'll be in the Earl Dolson room at the Legion. The Remembrance Day dinner, Legion is at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:30. Roast pork with all the trimming. Tickets are available at the bar for $20.
And we usually do walk in that as a council group, so 10:50 it leaves, you two say,
Yeah.
10, so we
Either a bit
Around
earlier,
10:30
get
or
lined
so
up
to
and organized,
get
yeah.
line on the 11th. And some of us have been to the banquet, so if any counselors want to do that, that's been a bit of a tradition too, those that can make it to the banquet in the evening. And just while we're on that, there's also a Remembrance Day ceremony at Berwick School on November 6th. And I know some of our staff are planning to attend, and many counselors, we've been invited by the principal to, those of us that are at the NSFM conference won't be there unless we want to hike home from Halifax to attend the ceremony and then go back, but,
What time is that on the sixth?
1:05.
so.
1:05, I think is the actual ceremony beginning, so, yeah. Maybe it was
12:30, yeah.
before that. That's not the time you have, so.
No, I think that's exactly
Okay.
105.
Yeah, 105, great, yeah. Any other counselor or deputy mayor?
Again, the West Kings volleyball team was successful. They host a Halloween volleyball tournament. They won that. I think they won all their tournaments except for one they finished second in. And I also wanted to acknowledge that Kingston had their first Sports Hall of Fame. There were many inductees and they honored many of the West Kings teams with success in that. They just did it at the end, which they did it at the beginning. That was all I had.
Yeah, great turnout for that, took a group of, former members of our Hall of Fame down and we sat at the back and watched them, good job they did. It's interesting how their ceremony matched ours very much, so, which we have done, I've done a lot of work with them over the last year or so with what we did, but they use the same MC we did, they use the same videographer that we did, the same video process, it was, yeah, it's good to see. Any others? I have one day ahead, the Lions Breakfast, which is the first of every month, is on Saturday morning, for Lions Hall. It starts at 8 a.m.
I get told if
Okay.
I'm not there, so.
If there's no other announcements, let's move on to our new business, Berwick School Advisory Committee appointment. So we've been approached by the Berwick School principal to appoint somebody to be the community rep of the Berwick School Advisory Committee. And they've sent us a bit of a package of what it looks like, and I've asked Justin, who's had people at school, involved in the school system, if he would be interested in that appointment, and he's agreed. We will make our appointments. We have that appointment and some other committee appointments that we will make official at our next council meeting. So there's some committee members as well that we need to add from the community, and then we need to add someone to our accessibility. And I've talked to Councilor Roots about filling that spot, but we'll make those adjustments all at the next council meeting. So. Okay, strategic plan update. We put that on the agenda. This is an opportunity if anybody had any comments about that, but just a reminder, the next piece of work will take place on the 18th, where those committees will continue to work away at their key priority statements and start to look at some action planning and refine the process to this place. So, Deputy Mayor, did you comment? Question?
The only comment I had, but I don't want to say negative, two things that certain groups would like to see. So when they were told us to look in our certain package, if that could have been up on the main screen, that would have been a little easier. He told us page 13 on one, page 14 from another, and then page 16. We only had two at each table, where if you could have had it on the screen. And the only other comment our table did not care for, I guess, was the star system. I thought we all did a great job, and that was the only thing that didn't go over so well. And a great turnout and diversity, and that was great.
Mhm. We've heard lots of comments and critiques of our facilitator. That's his style, that's what we got. We didn't have an opportunity to know exactly about his style. We really went by his experience in the process, and yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that.
What do you think, Lisa? Our table got number 1, so I think he was great.
No comment.
Any other comments
My
on
only comment is I will not be available on the
the 18th?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm out of province from the 10th on.
right, right, you must council as well, aren't you? Yeah, okay. So, so we've taken the material that was done on the flip charts and Jennifer has it and staff will refine it and we'll look at it and, figure out what's best to flip back to everybody to begin the next step at the next meeting. So may see some more of that ahead of time and then once the public piece finishes with our committees on the 18th, there's some more revisions and refining of the product and the document, and then we'll see that as council and staff a little bit more. And then that's when we really need to, let the rubber hit the road as to how we're gonna make it roll out and, budget and some of those kinds of things that align it with work planning and that kind of stuff. So a lot to be done with it yet. The approach we've taken, in a lot of cases, when the facilitator's done this, it's been specifically with council and staff, and then maybe in a day long or maybe a 2-day session. Adding the public piece has added another layer to it, but so it's not the finished work or not the entire work. It's just another piece to add to the when we added the public. So Jennifer, I know we and I chatted a little bit about any comments about steps, process, the work we have ahead of us, we're doing now.
No comment. I think you covered it well.
Okay. All right. Any other comments on it? We ready to move on? Okay. Well, let's do that. C, code of conduct for elected officials amendments. So people may have seen some of that in the press online. Jennifer has the updates just to go over those with us a bit more specifically. Jen?
Thank you. So I just wanted to put this on the agenda. I could have put it in the CAO report, just to bring your attention to the amendments to clarify for council. So they've made the regulations more restrictive in that only a member of council can lodge a complaint against another member of that sitting council. So you can't, a member of the public cannot make a complaint, and former member of council cannot make a complaint, and you cannot make a complaint against another public body. If there are any of those, we do not have any underway, but currently underway, those will continue. But moving forward, this change was made to the legislation to clarify that it's only current elected officials are the only ones able to make a complaint against another current elected official.
Any comments or questions on that? People familiar with that? Did you see it in the press and the media?
I'm sorry, I feel like I might be a little bit lost on this. So this is for
The code of
the
conduct?
code of conduct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
provincial government made some changes to the way it was originally, the training that we took and the workshops we've been to, that the process is a little bit different, or the opportunity is a little different now. The public cannot be part of that. So it's a huge piece taken out of it, from that point of view.
We're not going to have to retrain under the new legislation though, are we?
Well, it's a completely new sign-up feature for NSCC. It should be a real fun time again.
I have 100% that stays on my bulletin board and 20% my success rate last time.
Jennifer, you haven't heard anything about that, have you?
No, there's no new training that's required.
Great, great. All right, anything else around that? Okay, let's move on to the department reports. We have the fire department report there from Chief Luke Redden. If anybody does have any questions that we can't answer, we do have a fire meeting tomorrow, and we can find out and get back to you.
Just before you're going to the fire meeting, can you give thanks on behalf of council again for their service and wonderful job they do?
Well, you'll be there.
I know, but I'm trying, we're at a meeting here, and I'm just trying to say, I'd be happy to do as well.
Anything else on fire? Okay, let's move on to community development. Katie, anything you wanna highlight?
Sure, just wanted to, if folks wanted to save the date, for our holiday weekend, it's gonna be November 20th to the 23rd. On the Thursday evening at the school at 6 o'clock is gonna be a joint event, a community expo and our volunteer recognition event. We will circulate this as well at a later date. But that will be Thursday night. Friday night is gonna be our tree lighting ceremony. And then also on Saturday night will be the parade. So it will be a big weekend, for the community and for staff as well. Quickly note that our department, community development, is attending a community and immigration event on Saturday at Acadia. So we're gonna set up a booth, just share information about Berwick. Last year they said they had 230 booths and lots of people come through. So we're pretty excited about doing that and hopefully providing some information to the community and some folks on their way by. Those are a couple of the major things, but if there's any other questions, happy to explain them.
Okay, questions for Katie on this? Counselor?
I just want to say I'm very happy to see the drop-in gym time listed there, and that's going on Sundays and moving to Thursdays.
We're actually, sorry, don't mean to interrupt. We're actually gonna be doing Thursdays and Sundays, but we're right now too, to see if we're gonna catch a bit on momentum.
Yeah, that's excellent. I saw the piece that was lower there too about looking at the programs for the teenage group and the exercise program and laser tag. I happen to have an 8-year-old that quite enjoys laser tag. So if there were, like laser tag and indoor like Nerf gun battles, I think that would draw from some of the communities I get to hang out with lately. I think that would draw quite a few folks in. So
That might be
yeah.
happening. We ordered laser tag today. So.
Awesome,
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah, and yeah, I know that like the Nerf gun works really well outside in the summer, but yeah, if that was an option like through the winter too, that would be super fun. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I guess my usual plug for the holiday weekend and for counselors and walking the parade, wear lots of lights. Make sure you're looking super festive, so you can be out there hollering at the crowds and starting up the Christmas season. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that weekend too. Who knows what kind of weather we get, because it's always all over the map, but at least it looks like this time of year, most of the fires are over, so we can be happy there with whatever we get.
Mhm.
So yeah, great work.
It would be nice if it didn't rain quite so much.
It would be nice, yes.
2
Yeah,
years ago
yeah.
was
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Christmas ponchos are something we need to look into.
Light up Christmas market.
Yeah,
Just go with clear plastic bags over there.
yeah.
Go.
I wish you all the best. I will be at my wife's Christmas party that night, so I wish you all the best, and I hope the weather is very nice.
Katie, the volunteer recognition piece is it too late for groups to, have we done a nomination process from groups? I know we did that when we selected our volunteer,
Mhm.
but is that, like, who comes to that?
From my understanding, Taylor has organized all of that and did have a couple other folks who were nominated when Tara was selected, so. I can't say with 100% certainty, but from my understanding, those folks are being invited to that, like we used to do with the traditional.
Right, so it still has some of that,
volunteer.
okay.
Yep.
Okay,
And it will be done at the school on the stage, in conjunction with that.
but do the groups all receive an invitation to come to the volunteer night? Or is it only those individuals that get?
No, and it's a community expo, so community tables will be set up
Right.
around and, yeah, the whole community and those specific groups who nominated folks or who part of the nomination will be included.
Okay. Okay, good, good. And that's another mention on the parade. So we usually do go in the parade as the group, so we'll plan to stick that in your notepad unless you're at your wife's Christmas party. Then we're excused. There may be some other events that excuse you as well, but we'll see when the time comes. All right, Council Wong.
I'm just wondering, are we doing the usual town Christmas social event too, or is that replaced with?
We spoke, yes, we spoke about that today. I haven't confirmed the date. I haven't heard back yet, from the Lions Hall. But last year it was the first, Friday in December, so that's what we're aiming for. I have not confirmed that. So as soon as we confirm the information, I can share that, but we discussed it today and thinking that a similar route to, last year, and really think it made a difference that some counselors were able to go door to door and hand out invites, and seeing that there was a bigger crowd last year than in years past, so continuing with what happened last year and do the same thing.
Perfect.
I'll send the dates. Soon as I get that over here.
And the note did go out during the Christmas party.
Yeah.
I did not miss that.
If you're email, it's the.
Saturday the 13th.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Katie then? Katie, in one of your reports, you talked about a business breakfast. We're planning that, is that still on, not in here, or is that off the table now? What's
No,
that?
we were looking at doing it during the week of last week. And decided to focus some more of those monies on the Christmas promotion that we're doing with Rewind. It's not to say that it doesn't
Okay.
leave the opportunity to do that, but Rewind had approached us with a great opportunity to kind of support and offset some of the costs that our local businesses would face if they wanted to do. It's not only radio, but it's online campaign as well before the holidays. So we decided to support more in that route right now, considering the timing. So
Okay.
it is off the table at this point, not to say that it couldn't happen in years.
All right, Councilor Walsh.
One last one, I think, and it's holiday season stuff again too. Are we set up for the holiday music again this year?
People have been asking already.
Right?
yes.
I know it's on everybody's mind, better or for worse.
Mid-November, we'll put out an alert that we're doing a speaker testing. We actually did get some great feedback last year as well around times of day. I think we're gonna be offering it shorter hours during the weekday, and then a bit longer, which were the more traditional hours on the weekend. But we did, all things considered, got some great feedback and some move forward for this year. But yes, we aim for the 1st of December to get that going.
Cool. Yeah, it's clearly too late now, but I just had the thought in that, ADHD spur of the moment type way. Too bad we didn't have like some Halloween soundtrack stuff going on for, next year. We'll bookmark that for next year. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that can be our test run.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We did have some, but it was just from speakers. So it was equally as scary. I can promise you. Yeah.
I just have one question. It may not really, when do our banners come down that we just put up? I'm just wondering, veteran
The
banner?
date was there, November
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah, they come down the week after Remembrance Day and hopefully in time for the holiday decorations to go.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to, do we know where they're being stored? I guess that was the real question. Are we storing
The
them
banners?
or are the Legion storing them?
The
Right?
leaves.
They just, again, it was my wife, but she made how nice they looked in that, so.
Mhm.
I've got a few comments on that, so I was very pleased.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the same thing. It's been very popular, a lot of comments.
First year, that's 39 of them.
Yeah,
Well, I was amazed at how many places in town they were at when I was, yeah.
yeah. All right, anything else?
I'm good this time. I'm good.
Okay, well, let's move on then to Public Works. Aaron.
Okay, much less holiday theme in my report. I think some of the key works this month have been sidewalk repairs. Some of the humps that appeared this summer, we've been able to replace. There's still one in front of the Petro Canada on Commercial Street. We have a crew that's gonna be about a two-day job for the crew. And so we're starting that tomorrow morning. So that'll be good to get those fixed. Again, they kind of pose a lot of accessibility challenges and it's a bit of a trip hazard too. Another thing we've worked a lot this month is science. So we've been doing some housekeeping for about the past 2 months on just finding old signs around town that maybe we've been seeing for so long, we don't see them anymore. We've removed about half a dozen signs between Orchard, Main Street and Robinson Drive this month, which is good. It's just a chance to kind of update our signs so that we're communicating the right information today with our roads. We've also installed new signs, so there's some carpool signage at the fire hall as of this week. We have some new parking signs going on Orchard Street in between commercial and the old hospital. And we have new signage going up this week at KMCC, hopefully to improve parking and entering and exiting the parking lot during events. We'll see how that works.
Yeah. If only there was a sign that said that, like, that corner is not the actual crosswalk. First thing in the morning, that's brutal.
Yeah. From a sewer standpoint, we've had quite a few actions this month. In July, Nova Scotia Environment came and performed an inspection of our sewer plant and gave us a few action items. So we've been closing those. This month, we've shared with them a revised operation and maintenance manual. We have something called a sludge management plan. Next month, we'll share a revised emergency response plan for the sewer plant. We've also started the renewal process for our permit to operate. Our sewer permit expires in March of 2026. And it's at least a 90-day process to renew that. So we're starting that already. Also this month, we've implemented or we've taken major steps to implement a SCADA system with our sewer plants. SCADA is basically supervisory control and data acquisition. So in simplest terms, if something goes wrong, the person who's on call will get an immediate notification from the SCADA system so that we can respond quicker. It also compiles a lot of data that we can use for preventative maintenance. Hopefully, ultimately, things that will save us money with respect to maintenance and sewer trigger. A final thing I'll just mention is with respect to stormwater management, we had a presentation last night by CBCL. Many folks were able to attend. That was an update on our stormwater management plan, which has been underway for the better part of the year. The project is about 90% complete. Last night, they showed us a lot of their flood mapping and started sharing the recommendations to council. They've identified approximately 10 areas in town where we're probably going to have capital improvements. They've also started breaking up the town into catchment areas or watersheds, as they were calling it. Basically sections of town where water flows within that section, but it doesn't really leave that section. So if we can optimize a mini storm system for each of these catchment areas, it would be to our advantage to do that. They talked a lot about the river. We talked a lot about what we can do as a town to mitigate flood risk and what we can't do as a town to mitigate flood risk. And it really comes down to the river. You know, there's things we can do in the front yards of Main Street, but there's not a lot we can do in the backyard. And so they're going to help us articulate that to make sure that message is understood and can be processed. A final thing that they mentioned that was, I think, a lot of us found interesting was how can we take existing real estate, town-owned real estate and perhaps make it multi-purpose so that our natural environments that we have today could be used to some degree to accept stormwater. You know, if we have a wet season in the spring, could we use our natural environment, our natural parks that we have today to maybe capture some of that and slowly release it to the river as opposed to everything going to the river quickly. So again, it's a great idea and it's probably a whole engineering project in itself to assess that and see if it's even feasible. Hopefully next month we can have a public engagement session and also a draft final report. A draft final report, I would call it the 95% complete report where we can then give some feedback. It'll be enough to inform our capital and our operating budget for next year. But getting that from 95 to 100% might take a couple extra months, type thing. Any questions?
This was a wonderful report. I went over it. I was very happy. Just, within the last 7 days, are you aware that up on Foster where they're doing the new construction, the Bentley construction, that the road, there's a big massive pothole there now?
That has deteriorated with the rain, so we've asked them to put more gravel in today.
Mhm.
And we've reached out to Howard Little to see about paving.
Wonderful, thank you.
Can we put like a bump ahead sign as well up there? to
We
let
can,
People
yeah.
know that it's,
Typically, we would manage that with gravel. Because of the amount of heavy equipment that specific section of Foster is getting, it's washing out a bit more than our typically would. But yeah, we could put some bump signs, bump ahead signs.
And it is a pretty deep hole, I'd say, but.
It is, yeah.
But fortunately, you've got four-way stops at both ends, you're not going that fast, like I was gonna say, I could see it before I hit it, so.
I think as you get used to it, you know where to cross now. So properly, you're going right across, almost up on the, not on the sidewalk, but the edge, and you can get over it, but was not so lucky with my newer to me vehicle. My wife let me know immediately.
A lot of times, you take a cut in the road like that and you can tamp it as much as you want until you get rain. It really doesn't tamp the way it should.
Yeah.
So we've had some rain and now it's settled, so, yeah.
well, I think the amount of traffic and the size of the trucks and the
Yeah.
fact they're turning there too. Just cuts it up a lot more and it just,
Yeah.
so as much as you put the gravel in, it's just gonna fling out
Yeah.
the next truck that comes by, so.
We've had a
Let
few
people
calls.
know that it's, there's a bump there, maybe the best thing, cause there may always be a bump there until we pave it, till
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
till it stops.
Hopefully within 2 weeks it'll be paved and until then we'll be able to
Okay.
gravel.
I
that
took
quick,
people
are
at the
they?
grocery store stop and talk, so I said, I will bring it up at this meeting.
No, I appreciate that, yeah, thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, our paving budget is complete, but this was a sewer cut, so this is sewer budgets. We can certainly accommodate this.
Okay,
Thank you.
any other questions? Councilor Doctor?
The sinkhole on the corner of Commercial and Union there. Is that the one in front of the old funeral home?
Yes.
Okay, and how long do you figure it'll take? Once you start digging?
I knock on wood, salt over the shoulder. There's an old concrete pipe for the storm that's most likely failing, so we need to excavate enough of it so we can replace the pipe. But we need to do it gentle enough so that we don't further break the pipe. It would be a patch, a 5 to 10 year patch, not a 50-year repair. We're hoping to get to that after Christmas decorations are up and before Christmas. Because we don't want it to get too cold. We certainly don't want the ice getting in there because that could make it worse. So could become quite an extensive repair. It's gonna be challenging because it's right in the intersection there too, so we're gonna have a partial lane closure on Union Street. Probably for a couple days, so, yeah. There's also a hole by Tim Hortons, so the pipe on either side of the road is starting to show its age. Hopefully, again, I keep knocking on wood, it could snowball into quite the complex operation, but the plan is to repair, probably about a 20-foot section by the old funeral home and hopefully less than a 100-foot section on the other side. Yes, yeah, it's,
Councilor Walsh and Councilor Davis.
So I've just got a few notes from your report. The first one is just, I really hate that word sludge. It's just such a gross word. Wish there was something else. And so the second point that I've got is not to throw any sludge, but the apple bin chairs. We didn't have really a chance to meet about that, but if we could just note again, there was a chair in front of RBC this year that we had asked to not have there.
yeah.
And it was back again. And Aaron, I don't know how, but I feel like this is like the first time we've been like in front of each other for like one of these meetings in a while. So
Yeah.
I feel like this is the first time I've gotten to bring that up. But yeah, that chair, we really should find another location for that one.
We can do that.
Yeah, just because there was comfort just based on, you know, if people are, you've got a no loitering sign right there, which is already usually disregarded. But then when it's right there facing the bank, more than a few people have come up just saying that they have some comfort issues with people just loitering right there in front of the bank, so.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. Another thing, and I brought this up with Jen in a previous meeting, is the streetlights. And I know they normally get looked at like this time of year, like as we get Christmas decor coming up, which is another question if you want to toss more info before I get to that one too. But we have a number of streetlights in the downtown corridor, like the pretty ones that are out, and have been out for quite a long time. And so I'm wondering if, like, I know we have like our asset management planning, but is there anything that could like automatically tell us like what is off, what is not running, what is not working, or?
Oh, that's a good question.
Is
I'll answer that very quick with this. Those systems do exist.
okay,
I don't know how easy it is to retrofit ours.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
systems do exist.
'cause I know it's, you know, I mean, so many of us, like in the summer, it's lighter longer, so we're not paying attention as much. But as we get into fall and as the night starts coming on a lot quicker, all of a sudden it's September and you're noticing that about like 1/3 of our streetlights are out in that downtown corridor. Actually, I think it was police advisories where I first had this thought, and I remember Jen was there with me too. Just because it then becomes a bit of a public safety question too. If we don't have proper lighting, then how are we able to monitor the activities that are going on in the downtown? So just something that I want to make sure that we're highlighting more, because I know they're older structures that we're using too, like those light standards have been there for a long time. But it's something we might need to look at is how they're being lit and what they're being lit with, and how we monitor how they continue to be lit. So just maybe something we can try and keep on the radar there. Then just,
Excuse me, Todd.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, I thought we were gonna have the bulbs replaced so the lights can come back on.
Yeah. I'll check with the guys with Berwick Electric and see where we're at with that.
You know, is that gonna be sometime?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And now just back to a couple more sludge things. So I'm just wondering about what fun new processes for pre-treatment that Eden Valley might be up to right now? What might be new coming from them? And then what's the major cause of tripping for blower two? Is it more just electrical, or is it things getting caught in there, or?
So blower two first, I mean, it's the age of the equipment. It's at the end of its life. We have 3 blowers. One of them is completely shut down. We've physically removed the electric motor. We sent it to get it rebuilt and it can't be rebuilt. So we're down to 2. Blower 2, we think, is tripping because of the VFD, the variable frequency drive. Those aren't really things you repair. It's kind of like a light bulb. When it burns out, you buy a new one. A VFD is about $7,000, and new blowers are coming hopefully by the end of November. Certainly by Christmas we'll have them. So
Yeah.
to spend that sort of money for a couple of months is tough, right?
Yeah.
So far we've been managing it. One thing now that we have a SCADA system, we've looked at hooking up the old blowers to SCADA. It's not gonna help them run any better, but as soon as they go down, we could respond.
Yeah.
The issue is if we let blower 2 go down and stay down, we're not gonna put enough air in the ponds and we'll get an odor.
Yeah.
So to prevent that from happening, we need to keep that blower working.
Yeah.
So it's really come down to the age of the equipment. As far as Eden Valley, so they've always had some degree of pre-treatment. They've had a system called a DAF, which is dissolved air flotation, using air bubbles to precipitate solids in the water column to pull them down. Their new system is called a SAF, which is suspended air filtration or flotation, which is a little bit different, but a very similar principle. It's a very good system. It's very well known in the industry, but it takes a lot of time and attention to run it. You know, and sometimes organizations will buy the equipment and think they're done, but you actually need a full-time crew to run it to get the full effect of it.
Yeah.
It's also a system that requires chemical additives daily used to treat the wastewater, and you know, you need to make sure your budget's adequate to buy the chemical additives, right? So
Yeah.
you know, I think they're having some growing pains with respect to the process of operation and just the cost of the additives and optimizing how much additives. They've kind of proven the equipment works. Now they just need to find a way to do it consistently.
Yeah.
And they do seem very committed to doing that. They're also having some issues with right now, paper towel coming in the system, so the industry side of the building is what is pre-treated. The kind of living quarter section is not, that comes straight to the sewer, and for various reasons, they're having a lot of paper towel coming in there in our wastewater system, which is then plugging their composite sampler, which is causing some issues in itself. That's a bit of a cultural issue. They've had a lot of attrition over the years since COVID.
Yeah.
You know, the diversity of their team has changed, and, you know, people use sanitary napkins and paper towel differently in different parts of the world. So they have a paper towel issue that we haven't had in the town before.
Yeah.
That they're struggling with too. Sounds like it's an easy fix, but it's proving a challenge.
Gotcha.
So. Yeah, does that answer that question?
Yeah, yeah, and the last thing I just wanted to check on, was on the signage piece. And it was almost coincidental, in the last few weeks, I've had 3 or 4 people, talk to me about the distance signage that we used to have up around town. The ones that we did years ago, about, you know, like, 10 minutes, 5 minutes this, yeah. People were saying, oh yeah, we love that in town, we've loved exploring Berwick and going around, so. I don't know if those signs came down or not. It's one of those things that, like, you see them and then they kind of blur and it's just like, are they there or not? But
Walking tour.
yeah, but it might be something that maybe we want to look at doing, like a enhancement or refresh onto too, because people have commented that they like them. They like kind of seeing that, you know, how long it should take or how many steps, or neat way to get to explore and know the town too.
Yeah, so was there an intention to take them down? Is the program ended, or are they just disappearing through?
Not,
I think they're all up still.
I think they're still up
You
too.
walk,
yeah.
I've noticed, I don't pay much attention, but I noticed one the other day. Oh,
Do we know the spots are at?
No,
I'm just saying, if I knew, I'll drive around,
we
take a
can
look.
probably find
Should walk.
the original map. I'm pretty sure it's been 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
since
I just know there's some down by me because I see them at the walking group.
I think that was like one of the first things that you and I kind of had the same little
Yeah,
brainwave on, yeah,
Yep.
so.
can look for sure.
I always try to go faster than signs.
I know, I remember trying to, yeah, gauge that one.
They might need some paint or some sprucing up,
Yeah.
more visible. That does happen, right? You see something long enough and you don't see it.
Yeah, well, and it might even be another way, like, you know, you could almost marry 2 campaigns together between that and even, you know, maybe top half of the sign is like, slow down, you're in Berwick, we like to walk. In fact, 5 minutes away.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Council James.
Just a couple of points. One is, I see in your notes that the meeting for the stormwater was at 6:30 last night at the council chamber, so I wasn't late.
I need to. That's right.
So, but,
Does that-
it was an excellent session, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, they
you.
did it, they did well.
Yeah,
They did really
yeah.
well.
Two things that come to mind, Ty and a couple others have cleared up a few things that already, but one is Spartan Avenue, we're cutting the curb. Is that cutting of the curb at the owner's expense, town's expense? And if so, is it policy, procedure, or bylaw that's covering that?
I don't have a good answer to that. In some municipalities, that would be covered under a breaking soils permit. And it would be their responsibility, but they would need a permit before they could do it. And the permit really is a trigger for us to provide them with municipal specs on how it's done. And for us to know when they're doing it so we can inspect the work. In our case, you know, to my knowledge, we don't really have that in the form of a bylaw. We don't really have a permit process in place for that. Speaking with the developer and the property owner, you know, we said, we'll cut the curb to make sure the curb is cut properly, but it's up to you to put your driveway. there's no culvert or anything in that spot. You know, with a lot of driveways, you'd have a culvert across an open ditch.
Mhm.
Again, that would be a breaking soils permit to make sure the culvert's installed properly. Because this is a pretty simple driveway for the most part, again, cutting the curb was the most complex part. So we said we would do it, really just,
Yeah, I just
it's
wondered
good faith.
how it was happening and who was paying type of thing.
It's certainly an action I think that Jen and I have talked about. It's on our list, to come up with some of these, you know, similar to a sewer permit.
Right.
You know, a breaking soils or a sewer permit
Mhm.
are things that we could implement in town.
Okay, that's fine, as long as we have a process, a protocol for it, and it's done right is the big thing, and we can look at a new structure there that's going to possibly cover the future cost over time, so.
Yeah,
The other one is that I've noticed, on Bezanson and, Veterans, a number of sidewalks have been replaced under new construction. I'm not sure if that's a result of the construction damage to them or not, but it's been brought up to me. Who is responsible for that?
in that area, Howard Little is, so the Howard Little subdivision, as they build new houses and as the sidewalk is damaged, they're fixing it themselves.
Fine, just needed to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Also a gray area in some cases though, you know, if that damage occurs while they're building the house and it's not addressed in a timely manner, who fixes it 2 years later or 3 years later? And often in the past, from what I can see, that's fallen to the town. But if, you know, if the developer is the one who's causing the damage, you know, the developer should repair the damage.
Thank you.
Other questions for Aaron, Council?
Okay, this one's just a comment for Counselor Jameson. I always feel like I'm doing a good job if I've beaten you to a question. That always makes me feel good, so thank you.
Other questions? Aaron, I have a couple. So our patching and paving is done, completed by the contractor.
Mhm.
Are we planning to do any more in some of the spots where there are still some holes? I think there's a few on Mill Street, So Street, Hayden. People have asked me, are we gonna come around and do those ones? And I'm not sure, but was pretty sure our patching and paving folks were done.
We'll do those with cold patch.
Yeah.
We have some on Autumn Drive we were looking at today too. But we'll do those ourselves, kind of in-house. Cold patch will get us through the winter. We might have to do it a couple times as we plow. Oftentimes in the winter, cold patch is good for about 3 plow sessions and then you have to put it back in. And then those will be added to next year's roster. Yeah. We have, there's a lot of work we wish we could have done on Ron Smith. Of course, Macintosh, we've talked a lot about Macintosh. There's some patch paving really also in town that, would be nice to do, but the budget's gone, so.
Okay.
Yeah, cold patching comes out of the budget too, but again, cold patching is a bit more affordable and it's, you know, it's fit for purpose when we're looking to get through, say, 6 months, so.
Line painting, have we finished the line painting and did the ones in front of the post office get missed? There's no lines there for the parking spaces, pretty much.
If there's no lines, it probably got missed, but we still have done,
Okay,
we can add that. The parallel parking spots.
yeah. And the other one on my list was the Stowe Street speed sign.
That should be up,
Well, it's not.
and it should be facing, coming from the industrial park. That's not there.
No. That is coming
I thought
up
it's in there
as
a month,
opposed
but
to-
it might not. I can double check.
We're putting it from that way. Most of the speeding occurs, the complaint occurs once you've left the stop sign on Maple. And then you got the nice downhill straightaway there and you come over the rise and By then you can get her going really well.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
It's great.
So we could do that. I believe it's facing right now, and I could be wrong.
So maybe it's closer to the industrial park then, is it?
I think it's closer to, I think it's probably halfway between the stop sign and Robinson.
Okay,
But we can
okay.
move it to the other side of the road.
Well,
So it's, so if you were heading west, you'd see it as opposed to heading east, is that what you're
Correct.
saying?
Yeah, so if you're
Okay.
coming into town, the people excited to get to town, excited to come to work, we're reminding them of their speed.
okay.
One thing we can do is we can put the post receivers really on the other side of the road, so they can be moved intermittently, you know, maybe not on a regular schedule, because then people learn the schedule, but we can move it to the other side.
So the interesting piece about that is the people that are complaining about it are the ones that, like most, there's only one house on the south side, so all the houses are
Yeah.
that way. But the speeding that they're complaining about is the one that's on the other side of the street, not necessarily
On the south
on
side.
the north side of the street where the houses are, right? So I could see why you might put it on the north side, because that's the same side as the houses, but the speeders are primarily the ones going down the hill,
Leaving town,
not,
yeah, okay.
not coming up, but.
If it's not there, we'll find it and we'll do that. We'll put it on the south side of South.
Yeah.
Probably at the bottom of the hill or something like that. Which again, I think is roughly halfway between Robinson and the stop sign is maybe where that slope.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah, we can
Thank
do
you.
that.
Any other questions for Aaron? Okay, let's move on. Perfect finance, Lisa.
All right, so just a couple highlights. We've been pretty busy on the electric side of things in finance, so a lot of good progress being made on the RFPs that we've got out related to Factory Dale. So we're coming into the evaluation completion phase and hope to have a recommendation for the commission here at our November meeting. The bids are coming in a little bit lower than we originally thought, so that is always a good news. And our consultant is, I believe he said he's 73% done our FCM grant application, which has been escalated to the final approval stage. So hopefully we'll get some good news on that front. I did highlight a little bit about our rates. I think in the coming weeks, we're gonna determine if we're going to do a flow through or a general rate application for the utility. We did get notification of the fuel adjustment mechanism and maritime link costs from Nova Scotia Power. So as of September 30th, 2024, the cost that the electric utility owed is approximately $900,000. So we are waiting for the final costs to come through, but those will certainly have to be flowed through to the customer to recover that and pay back to NSP, as our current rate structure is not able to sustain that. Once the solar garden costs are reconciled, we're going to have to include those in our rates as well. So we are looking at between a $1 and $2 million overage that we're going to be looking to recover there. So a lot of work ahead, certainly in the utility side of things, but I just wanted to make sure that council was kept apprised of that as well. And then from both organizations' perspective, we're continuing to work on our audit. We're waiting, I believe Area provided an update last week that we should be soon receiving the rest of the information that we've been requesting. And we've tentatively booked our auditors to come to site the last week in November. And so we'll be excited to hopefully get that moving, from the external auditor's perspective, they've been excellent at, keeping communication in touch with us. And, one of the big, things that we have been working through with our auditors is transferring the solar into the electric utility books. So there was a lot of back and forth with the auditors, and one thing that has been really valuable, I would say, with our new auditors that we have is they have resources that we haven't had access to in the past. So we've been able to work a lot with National and trying to get proper direction on the timing of when this should be gone over. There's a lot of moving pieces to it. It's not as simple as saying, okay, today we're gonna move it over. So we do have direction that'll be moved over on 24-25's books. So we will, we're now taking that direction and taking the time to move over last year and then current year to date. So. Any questions?
Questions for Lisa?
I know I'm on tonight, I'm sorry, yeah.
Let's have.
Yeah, I mean, Katie got off a little bit easier because I didn't realize that this pad of paper was right beside me the whole time, it was the other side, so. I just want to check on Factory Dale.
Mhm.
So, okay, and for the decommissioning, so that's decommissioning the old turbine, right? But we
Yes.
are still looking at new turbines, right? Because that,
Yeah,
Okay.
so essentially, we have gone for the commission approved, the option, which would look at the entire refurbishment of the whole unit.
Yeah.
So it was all directly related to an incident that caused a breakdown within the turbine. Which is the bottom place where the generator was the previous claim that, had been ongoing since 2018. And, the best return on investment that has been, evaluated would be to replace the entire unit. So the decommissioning part is just to do a piece by piece dismantling of the turbine, which is really difficult to access if anyone's been to the powerhouse. It is on the bottom level of the powerhouse with a huge generator above it, so it won't fit up and out easily. It's gonna have to be dismantled piece by piece.
thanks, yes. And so you say the bids for the new turbines, that's even lower than expected?
Yes,
Okay, so that's really good.
Yeah.
And all of these turbines, they all still look like they're like triple the power of what the last turbine was, so.
it should be an increase. I don't wanna speak to what it is until I have the actual numbers. But yes, the intention is that it would produce more and maximize the amount that we're able to produce based on the water flows there.
Good. And maybe I'm just gonna jump ahead like a couple points, but so does that help us with like ideas on how to ease the debt load on ratepayers for electrical? If we have that online, that'll make it a lot easier for us to pay that down and still have livable electrical rates, or?
Well,
Or is that like a stop pie, ask me that in the hallway after the meeting type question? Okay.
It's a great question, absolutely. So we have been applying for finance, that's the FCM grant, which does have, it's a 20% of 80% of the total cost grant portion.
Yeah.
We did apply for another grant, which we weren't successful in. We have continued to work through the mayor and our local MLA to see if maybe the federal government still has some funds within that funding stream that we could access. But if it does land on debt, then there is gonna be the repayment component. But it will be green energy and, I can't speak until we're done how that would compare to NSP's rates, because they are also going through a general rate application to have an increase on municipal rates as well.
Yeah.
But we always strive to be at or below NSP, so we hope that we're able to maintain that. Yeah.
We'll be generating power that we haven't been for a long time.
Yeah.
So that's
Like anything at this point would
bill.
be better than
Yeah.
where we are
But
right
to
now.
pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the challenge.
One of the things that is really valuable about the hydro facility is that we're able to manage that in the winter to help shave our peak demand. So the peak is what NSP uses to bill us for the year. So I know our team is really diligent in watching the weather and trying to produce as much power as they can there. And we also have a manual generator that we use, so all of the different pieces will help reduce that peak demand and ultimately reduce what we have to pay to Nova Scotia Power for any power imported. So
Sure.
certainly a valuable asset to have online.
So similar to that, so our wind farm,
Mhm.
so this was not a particularly windy year in other years where we've had heavier hurricane type seasons and, you know, there was some wind because the fire spread, but, not as much wind as other years. How is the wind farm looking in terms of how much they're generating this year? Is it lower? Is it?
I'd have to defer to Jen on that. She's been attending those meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jen, got any hot air to blow our way? Oh, come on, that was a good lead in, Jen.
There's been no reports that the wind profile has been underperforming this year from the E CEO.
Good news, I would say. You also mentioned, Lisa, about the St. John Energy Programming, and looking at trying to go after some of the funding models they went after. What are some of their programs that they went after to try and, get more funds?
Yeah,
More
so-
energy production?
They've really ramped up their electrification stream. So they do a lot of rental programs. So things like hot water tanks or heat pump programs. It's a little bit different from the PACE program that we did where the town tried to act as a financer for it. Which I would strongly encourage to stay away from.
Yeah.
But this kind of coordinates and has like procured vendors, which will manage that for you, and then you get the benefit of
Okay,
the revenue stream from it.
yeah,
It's proven to be very successful for them. They're actually generating more revenue off of that as people become more energy conscious. To have that additional revenue stream, they were even able to provide their customers, I think, with like a small credit at the end of the year. Everybody got to reap the value of that. So through a COA, we've been able to secure some funding, and we put up our hand to be part of that pilot and really see if we can enhance what we can offer.
and that would be
here.
municipal energy providing units together, right?
Yeah.
Forgive me, I lost like the name of the group already.
Yeah, the Maritime MMEU.
Maritime Municipal Electrical.
Thank you, Krista.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. If we could, like, to be able to have like that broader range by
Yes.
all of those different municipal electric commissions, that's a great way of working together.
It is.
So yeah, I really like that.
Super.
And then my last one, I swear it's my last one. But Lunenburg is now on board too.
Yeah.
So does that mean that, cause I know before there were talks about Nova Scotia Power was managing their energy supply, so are they now also like on board in looking more into managing their area, their electrical supply? Is that also where they're heading to, or?
All I understand is that they do have a new CAO and the new council is really interested in seeing what sort of benefits they can get. I believe they extended the contract with NSP for a year so they can look at different options.
Yeah.
But they are thrilled to be part of this collaboration that we have. So I would see it as a great news story and potential opportunities for some partners down the line. So,
Yeah, that's great to
Yeah.
really encourage that voice too.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm really excited for that.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'm done there. That went through all my questions.
Hey, Deborah Merrily.
Lisa, I don't know if you can answer this question, or maybe to Jen question again, but mine is with the water flow. We can have the best technology, we can have the best wind thing, but if we don't have the water and with everything being down with fires this year, I know every lake dropped 4 feet. Are we gonna have enough water supply to go through that, to turn the turbine and that? That's my only concern. As I grew up in that area as a kid, now we could have some summers that there was really no water going down there late in the season.
I think, and Jen may wanna take on at the end, we have the most water in the winter and that's when it's the most important for it to operate at full capacity, to be able to use it for the peak shaving and, I believe when it's like a heavy spring thaw, then you get the influx as well. And it's my understanding that it doesn't always obviously produce as much as it could through the summer months. But now we do have the solar garden, so that's kind of when it's optimal solar power coming onto the grid well as well. So, you know, the water will fluctuate based on the climate. But I think we're in a really great position in the utility to have both assets kind of complementing each other when it comes to production and different seasons, so.
Councillor Duncan.
Is there any scheduling as to when Factory Dale will be operating again?
We hope to have an update from the engineer, when they make their recommendation. So I can't remember if it was in the proposal. I thought it was 9 months to 12 that it's gonna take to get it. You know, once the decision's been made and the grant funding is in place. One of the criteria with the grant is that if you spend expenses in advance of getting your approval, then they would become ineligible. So we're trying to make sure that we're, you know, driving at the same time, so we're ready to go with both at once. But I believe it was 9 months to a year.
So for, not this winter, but the next winter, we should be operating.
That's what we're hoping, yes.
Councillor James.
Just a couple of small things. One is the Nova Scotia Power is going to be clawing back or looking for money. 900,000, is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
And I see that we're is that a speculation that it's going to be a 2-year payback? And if so, will there be interest charged during that period of time? And has there been interest charged on that 900,000 already at an 18% rate or at a 4% rate, or what's the story on that?
That's a great question. I would defer to Jen for that because this is information provided from our solicitor. So not being privy to those conversations, I just got the 900,000 as of September 30th, 2024, and the request for a 2-year payback.
Okay,
So I'm not sure, Jen, if you may have more information around that.
I can't answer those questions off the top of my head, but I can make note of them to report back on. I don't believe that there is interest charged on it, but I will take that away to follow up on. And the 2-year was imposed by Nova Scotia Power and agreed to by our solicitor.
As I was going to say, if we can split that up to a 5-year repayment term, it'd be nice, but it'd be nice to also have no interest. I'm glad to hear that we should find out that. That's good. Yeah, we have a number of capital projects related to the electricity or electric generation. And we will be going through a capital prioritization program before we lock those down.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
that's right. So again, trying to see, I don't think I've provided it in this update, but I have mentioned previously. So we are doing a review of our assets amongst towns. So I think I did note it at the end as like next month priorities. St. John Energy Resources will be on site toward the end of November. And they're gonna do condition assessment and review our structure and have meeting with our PLT team and essentially provide a 10-year capital roadmap for the organization. So this is another kind of shared project that we're doing through the MMEUA and we're successful in getting funding from ACOA. So that will help kind of shape and form the future. So we do have a capital plan in place. Right now, the 2 major projects that are on the go are obviously Factory Dale. And then we do have the AMI project, which we were successful in getting grant funds for through the NRCan EIS stream. So that is one that we've already started. And that'll be about a 2 to 3 year project that is kind of already ongoing. And we know that the substation will be another major project, which we're hoping to kind of flesh out details with the support of the capital roadmap. Conservation energy.
The other one, just still related on energy, is that someone brought to my attention that, Nova Scotia Power's clients can qualify for Efficiency Nova Scotia. I didn't get all the details, but I understand a small rebate or grant through there. Do Burritt clients also have that same ability? Because when I read through it, I just did a quick read through it, it only listed Nova Scotia Power.
Okay, I'm not sure, to be honest, I'm not familiar with the program. But maybe if you can provide the program, we can look into that and see if they would be eligible here.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you.
and then just the other one, I'm glad to hear the audit's coming together.
Yeah, me too.
And look forward to having our next meeting. And in that, are our auditors also looking at any issues related to HST and how we can recapture any HST on our projects? We have that major project that's called Solar Garden, which has probably a significant amount of HST tied to it.
Right.
And will that be part of their review, or can that be part of their review?
Yes, so they're actually, so council had already provided support to go ahead with an HST recovery audit. So there is a team, again, it's great to have access to the different supports. So there is a team that's working on it. We've got a meeting scheduled. We're just reviewing information that they've provided. I think there was a little bit of duplication because we're still running and receiving things. So we want to make sure that we've included everything. So we hope within the next 2 weeks to be able to kind of finalize that. But there will be some HST that we're able to get back. I don't want to commit to a number at this point until it's finalized, but at this point, even if we can get, $100 grand, like that would be, any money's exciting to have back to help support the overages and bringing those down. So I'll certainly bring that back to council and let everyone know how we meet out with that.
Very good,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions? And Lisa, will we see a budget update with council meetings
Yes,
at the plan?
That's coming to the November council meeting.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
so we'll have a variance analysis for both operating and capital, and we'll also be providing one for the commission as well in November. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's
Very
underway.
good. Okay, if there's no further questions for Lisa, thank you very much, and move on to Jennifer. Jen, your report. Anything you'd like to highlight? And
I don't think there's anything to highlight that hasn't been highlighted in any other report, so I'll just open it up to questions.
question for Sam. Counselor Wall, you're on a roll. Keep it going, buddy.
Jen, it's a shorter list for you this time from what everybody else has gotten, so I'll go a little easier. But the first one was just a thought in knowing that right now our provincial government seems to be very, very hungry to try and get new industries up and off the ground to try and increase Nova Scotia's economy right now. And they're making many strong and sometimes whiny media pitches saying that they really want to get new industry going to the point they're looking at so much mining going on. And I'm just wondering, are we at any tables right now in trying to position ourselves like with our energy production, like in getting in front of more provincial representation to maybe be considered more for some of those industry projects and funding? Like, it feels like this might be the right time as they keep trying to launch new projects and getting public feedback that people don't like uranium, but people do like wind. So it might be a good time to really try and meet with folks from provincial government and say, we are sitting on a really good industry right here. We've put a lot of work into it from multiple municipalities already. Let's look at future partnerships, especially as the provincial government doesn't always want to play as nicely with Nova Scotia Power, but they seem to like us just a little bit more.
So we had some, oh, go ahead, Jennifer.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Right. Okay, I'll go ahead.
It's rock, paper, scissors there.
See, yeah, exactly. So we've had some very productive meetings with the Minister of Energy, regarding our utility and also area and what we're doing there. The unfortunate part, but maybe the fortunate part is the Minister of Energy that we made the pitch to and has a much better understanding of the benefit of our, some of these municipal utilities is no longer there. The new Minister of Energy, who we hope to continue to have these conversations with, is now the Premier. He's taken over as Minister of Energy.
So he's easy to get a hold of.
So whether or not we continue to have his attention, we hope to, at least in my conversations with our MLA, about making sure that conversations we've had get carried over in that department and with him as well. Time we'll have to be seen, I guess, as that moves forward, but that would be the closest, I think, as far as any pitches to the provincial government, other than our conversations with the Valley Wren and their understanding of our green energy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking too, as we get close to NSFM, like if there's anybody that we should be particularly trying to get close to at that conference, who can try and push for some more of those conversations to come our way.
Jennifer, anything to add to that?
I'd mention that there isn't a lot of groups that are stood up right now that are talking that I'm aware of. So I think Valley Wren is a really good team to be talking to about what's happening at the provincial level. The mayor has mentioned about the work we've done with the previous Minister of Energy. And through area, we are looking at future wind projects, where that might be, what might be the best options for the town to meet the targets. So all of that work is happening behind the scenes. And I would say through other connections, whether it's the MMEUA or AMA, we're learning about other opportunities, and through the mayor's connections and relationships with our MLA and MP, we're learning of opportunities. So I think that we've got our hands out, or maybe not hands, but we're out there pounding the pavement, just waiting for something to click.
Is there anything we as council or people in town can do to help support that work? Any guidance there?
I think a lot of it right now is trying to understand what the opportunities are. But all the work that council has done to support the team, particularly on the energy side of things, and the work that BEC is doing and the partnerships that we have with the other Nova Scotia municipal electric utilities, as well as the MMEUA, is setting us up to be able to take advantage of those opportunities when they come along. So the support that we get through council on that and the commission is much appreciated and very important.
It's a very challenging time right now. There's not a lot of appetite to be investing in Canada and Nova Scotia because of the climate that we're dealing with tariffs and the economy and those kinds of things. So that there's not as if there's a lineup of major producers or major opportunities there, of which we're making pitches to, simply because there tends to be more of a reserved approach to looking at developments and that until kind of the climate for it settles a little bit more. But being ready, and I think there's lots of opportunities for us in this town to be ready for things that are going to occur around here, like the 14 wind growth. And that is a huge industry in itself. It may not recognize it as an industry, but it is a huge industry. When they're adding more people because of additional helicopter programs and drone program, and they're talking adding 500 more enlisted people in there, and the services that are provided, where do these people live? Where are they going to do their business? Where are they going to shop? Like how to make sure we're ready for that? And I think the work that we can do to make our community an attractive place to live, work and play and do business will be to our benefit. So all those kinds of positive things that we keep creating and keep doing as a council will all help with that and be part of that attraction to this area.
Yeah, I guess it's just been on my mind. This is an area that we definitely need to be keeping really top of mind. Just especially as technology in the world is increasing at such lightning pace right now. I mean, I'm using AI, you know, sometimes a dozen times a day for different things. And I know that results in using a lot more electricity and having that higher load. So I think back to, there was a conversation a while back on how, you know, if we ever get to net zero, it might last for a couple days or so, and then the load is gonna keep increasing. So we need to be ready to really be jumping on that industry, especially as something that's gonna continue to move forward, is we're gonna need a higher and higher electric load. If we can be at the forefront of that, and working with the provincial government that is really looking towards trying to bring in new industry, I think there's some opportunities now, and if we can move on, pulling some of those pieces together as best we can, I think we'd be in a really good spot.
Great.
If I can just
Jennifer?
build on that again, I think supporting the work that we're doing, because we need to be strategic in where we're putting our funding and investing to make sure that we're ready for these opportunities. Yes, we have capacity right now, but is there capacity to get that energy to Berwick? I don't know. Like, we need to figure those things out, and we need to ensure that our system is reliable and we continue to invest in it. So I do think that it's a twofold approach, and we're keeping an eye on what's happening in the outside of Berwick, but we also really need to make sure through the strategic plan, through having the MPS just approved, through the work we're doing with the stormwater management plan, like, these are going to be significant investments that we need to make, and we need to make sure that we're staying the course on getting these assets in good shape so that we are investment ready for anything else, like the mayor said. So we're ready for the work, live and play in Berwick. And so I think that everything that we are currently doing, and with the support that we've had from council and the commission so far, is really putting us in a position where if an opportunity does come along, if we keep our course on making sure that we're investing in our infrastructure that we're doing now, we'll be ready for it.
Any other questions for Jennifer and CAO's report? Deputy Mayor?
Cause Dan, the last one, Dan Stovall, are we as a council going to do something for his retirement? I mean, whoever takes the job will do a great job. They just won't do a Dan Stovall job that I've known for many years. So I just thought, as a council, can we do something special other than an acknowledgement? Is there a fund or whatever for a small gift or something?
Actually, Jennifer and I talked about that today, and there is his retirement party coming up, and Jennifer will be attending and making a presentation to him on our behalf and presenting a gift, yet to be determined, but we did intend to give him a gift. We were looking for what opportunity there was for that, because his retirement is the end of the month. The good part about Dan's retirement is he's still gonna continue to be around and be available to do teaching, actually, so it's not as if he's going anywhere. So there is opportunity to see him, but we thought this would be the best place to make that that presentation, so. Yeah. Okay, anything else? Councilor Wall?
Just one last super quick point, and that's, as we know, I often call myself the council vampire because I can only operate at night. So while the council coffee chat looked like a lot of fun, I wasn't able to make it out for that. But if we ever did have, you know, like a late night espresso conversation, I'd be up for that if we ever wanted to.
Could be up all night.
Yeah, I probably would be, but I'd be talking real fast too.
Yes. And that's, I mean, that's appreciated, because, you know, when to do these things has always been a bit of a challenge, but we tend to do our public meetings in the evening. This is more of an information and gathering during the day where people can make it more of an informal thing, and I think they are gathering momentum as more people attend, and and get interested in meeting and talking to staff and hearing about the things that we're doing. I think we're building a lot of friends out there, and I think that's important for us to, people to kind of be engaged and understand what's going on in the town and who's here and what kinds of things we're doing, and so I think it's helpful that way. Yeah. All right, are we ready to move on to committee reports? And you will see the mayor, it's kind of interesting to see the various formats we seem to have now in our reporting. So I don't know if I'm using the old one or the new one, but anyway, there's the area report. There's some major discussions happening with area on moving forward from our, based on our strat plan and some various diverse options for the Ellis House Wind Farm and kind of the role of area. So, and there's some kind of alluded to, the way things could work differently, and procurement of additional wind energy, and just the way the whole thing can operate. So we're really having, I would say, it's a pretty deep dive into looking at the way area operates and runs, and a lot could change and come out differently from that. Unless there's any questions on that one. Anything, Derek, to add? If Derek attends, or Jennifer?
No, I think you've pretty well covered it in there.
Fire subcommittee. And we're meet again tomorrow on this. The issue of the tanker is definitely a priority conversation for us, and the town's readiness and ability to be a partner when the commission and the firemen are able to is gonna be a big challenge in that. And we're trying to work out the kinks of that and better understand where they are with the process of acquiring the tanker.
Just on that, our portion seems to be a struggle. And if we are going to look at meeting that struggle, it would probably be debt.
It is, yes.
It is debt.
Yeah, and that was something that I had communicated through the budget process. And, the documents are still there, but I ran different scenarios with it and without it. And certainly if we want to continue to invest in our own infrastructure, like Foster Street, it's run without the fire truck because there's a lot of borrowing that we're going to anticipate. And it'll be some time before the limit will get freed up, to be able to borrow for a fleet because we don't have any reserves for equipment, so
There are no reserves at all.
that's right.
Okay.
Can I ask the council around the table as I was sitting at this meeting tomorrow where we feel? I'm all for roads too, I'm not saying that, but we all just witnessed what happened this summer. If you don't have your equipment, you won't have your roads either, because I'm just asking when I bring it to the meeting
What we
where.
witnessed this summer is we need more water bombers, but nobody wants to invest in them.
I agree.
That's the problem.
The challenge right now with understanding the tanker is when you need to commit to it, what stages of the tanker is built and what the time frame is.
Yep.
So it's a longer process. It's not, you don't drive over to the local tanker company and buy one and drive it back. So what we're trying to get an understanding is to, even with the company that could build this, when they could even possibly build it is a question that's not been resolved yet. So as much as some people would like to buy and have a tanker tomorrow, that the reality of that is not there. So that's some of the questions yet to be answered. So it's about when. So yes, when could we be a partner in paying the bill? But when would the bill be due? What do we have to do now to know that we can get in line to get a tanker in 3 years, and what does that cost, and who could pay that? So there's lots of things around this conversation that, that is yet to be determined, so, and there's, you know, there's some comfort from the other two that they can, you know, we can begin with the ordering of it to get in line, but we may not receive this for some time, nor maybe we need to pay the bill for some time. We just don't know what that time is yet, and that's what we need to resolve kind of from the process and then make our decision. You know, do we wait a year to order it because it's better for timing, it's gonna take 3 years, or can we order it now because it's gonna take 4 years? Like, that's still the stuff that we haven't resolved yet.
But how much is it gonna go up as well?
Well,
That's when we know that, right? That's the juggling piece too.
Yeah. Counselor Paul.
You forget your last name already, have you?
No,
It's been like 5 minutes since I opened my mouth. So I'm just wondering, and maybe I should know some of this a little bit more from my time when I was on the fire commission subcommittee. But what are the stipulations around replacing tanker 21? Like, is it due to age? Is it due to like how it meets up with current equipment standards? Like, I can't imagine that these that our trucks would have that much for mileage on them. I know that like they're kept up like in ship shape. Is there any way to retrofit the trucks to meet the needs on what they need to be like? And this is coming from like a novice on not knowing a full fleet of fire trucks, but what are the replacement stipulations that are there?
So the new truck they're talking is actually a combination of replacing two vehicles, a pumper and a tanker. Both of them are undergoing regular maintenance repairs now. So that's a big question as well, is how much longer can we go with maintaining these before a new one will be required? And would you replace the pumper if you had to before the tanker? Or would you go right into the new machine that replaces both of them? So, yeah.
But
It's,
to answer the counselor's question, don't quote me on this, but I was barely over 10,000 kilometers on the vehicle that we just sold. Was it not? I'm trying to remember the mileage. It was very low compared to if I had a young brother, which I did, but was uneligible to vote. I was like, I might have bought this vehicle because it had low kilometers. That's what I look for when I go shopping for a vehicle, not the year of it. I look to see if it's been rusted and how many kilometers, and they were low, but that was from different vehicle. I know these ones they use every time, I think they're called.
Like, I'm sure every run, does more wear and tear on a fire truck than what, a run into Costco would do every couple of weekends on like a, suburban vehicle. But if there's a way to make things last, but if the maintenance costs are already creeping up there, then that puts it in a different category too.
so another interesting twist to the conversation is the standard that's required for fire vehicles.
And that's what I sort of remember.
And the standard, in some cases, the national and provincial standard is based on the use in areas where fire trucks go far more often than they do in rural Nova Scotia. However, if the department is required to meet that standard of mileage, time, amount of use before it needs to be replaced, however, it's not that bad a machine because it really, that's some of the things that the firemen themselves are dealing with for equipment. That comes into the conversation. And then the other part of this is the fire services study that was done. And some of the recommendations that are coming out that the province needs to play a bigger role in supporting fire departments, municipalities in replacing equipment. So what does that mean? That's why it seems to take a long time with the conversation around this truck and the understanding of the options and what could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something where we don't want to be in a position where, we don't want to support, making sure that we've got top of line equipment to be able to protect our firefighters out there. Certainly this summer, we had a really good example on how important having vibrant fire support services are, and we certainly need a lot more. But it's just to try and balance that on top of what we can afford to, and how, I know that standard for fire protection is pretty high as it should be, but how do we balance that with a small town budget?
Excellent.
So what would our obligation be on this $2 million acquisition? Is it 1/3, 1/3, 1/3?
Yes.
Of $666,666.
I thought it was half and half. I know Bert helps out, but I didn't think that it was 1/3. I thought it came down when we talked to his commission did half and we did the other half. And I know Bert jumps in and helps as much. Could be wrong on that, but I thought, because we thought it was a third, but then when it come back to it, it was just us and the commission, so it went up. Jen, please
So-
chime in, and
The
yeah.
policy is that the commission and the town pay 50%.
Yeah.
The practice now is that the fire department has the money and is able to commit. So we're looking at in this piece, a third, yeah. If we can afford a
If we
third,
can afford a third.
maybe it's 50-50 between the fire department and the commission.
Maybe we need our own 50-50.
Well, that's how you can, with your own 50-50, you can pay for a third.
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay, Counselor
In the
Goddard
budget.
and Counselor James.
Would the cost not come down slightly by arguing with those other two vehicles?
The replacement requirement comes down. Now we're buying one machine instead of having to replace two. Yes.
So we're getting rid of those two. They must have some value.
Oh, well, yeah, that will be taken into consideration for sure. Yeah. Counselor James.
And that was part of my question, along with, we have no reserves. And if we've got 3, maybe 4, may have to be 5 years to deal with this, can we look at a budget that would include a reserve in order to deal with the replacement?
Mhm.
Because we're going to have replacements of not only these trucks, but other trucks in the future.
Mhm.
And we don't have our reserve components of our budget do not address that, as I understand it.
1,000%. So within our current budget, that's the first year in a number of years that council made the decision to put 75,000 from operations into a reserve. So we can absolutely, through budget discussions, prepare what different level of reserve options could look like for fleet replacement. Generally, that's best practice to fund your fleet from your reserves. Also looking at different capital reserves, we can certainly bring back a number of scenarios. I'd be very happy to do so.
And we are still paying for a vehicle and we are still paying for another capital project at the fire department.
The fire hall is still on our debt.
And
We do have the mini pumper that's fairly new. Was it last year, I believe?
Yeah.
That we have on our debt as well.
and water storage.
And
And
water
water
storage
storage
section,
tank. Like we have done what I would consider some very significant investments within the fire services department. In the last couple of years. And, by not having reserves in place, those have been funded through debt, so we do have, I'm just looking here, we've got a fire hall, the mini pumper and the water storage. Tank, and we also have one more additional pumper truck that's still on the books, from 2020, so 2 vehicles, water storage and the fire hall, so. Those are all debentures that we have on our books related to the fire hall or fire departments.
And just further on that, how there's an allocation of costs between the commission and the town of Berwick
Mhm.
For operations, but
Um,
none for capital.
so so the fire commission funds capital. So our rolling stock, which is our vehicles, is a third between the fire department, the fire commission and the town. Items like the water storage tank was 50-50 between the town and the commission. the water storage example, the fire department did put in, I believe it was 20 to 30,000 of their own money toward it. Although that's not required through our agreement. But when it comes to operations, we have the agreement with the county. So it's the municipality of Kings that provides a portion of subsidy toward the fire services grant. It usually averages around 66%. It varies based on a 3-year rolling average of calls. So we get the call logs annually, and then that drives the percentage based on the calls and responses in the county versus the town. But there are things that they will not fund, so obviously the county doesn't fund the debt repayment because that's the town's commitment from a capital perspective, and the county has the commission is how it contributes to capital. So the town is always responsible for the operating repayment or the operational repayments for your debt, so principal and interest, 100% is related to the town.
Some more conversation on that, and likely some sort of request proposal will come forward on where we are with that, if it gets to that. Okay, can I back up? B, Annapolis Valley Regional Library, I don't see the report here, but Councilor Walsh,
There was, we did have a meeting, it was mostly in camera. So I don't have a whole lot to report. Mostly it was almost solely just on the relief that the union contract has been ratified. There was not anything else really to report other than that.
okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. And let's move on to D, which is the AMCC Governance Committee. Jennifer, do you want to comment on that?
I would just take any questions that anyone has. I would just point out that the water signs of do not drink the water have come down. And I feel that from the town's perspective, we're still working to see how that water testing works out for the summer, because it's really driven by the flow of water in the winter into the reservoir for the ice and the compressor. So in the summer, it doesn't get rotated as much, and that's what causes the uranium level to be higher than allowed for public drinking water. And so they've made some changes internally to address the issue, but something that we'll keep an eye on. And Mike, I'd just hand it over to you if you had anything else to add.
The only other item I would mention is the Lions Club are very interested in becoming a comfort center there, and they're working with Dan or Dan's replacement on those requirements and looking at the whole idea of a generator or other power options there, backup power options.
Sorry, I made a comment at home, but left that piece of paper. I just wanted to acknowledge the AED machine was donated by Bob Stewart for the common area of the building. I know he had concerns with that before, so that was very nice.
Yeah, the unfortunate part, it's old and doesn't work, but.
Oh,
there-
well, let's see, I can't know everything.
No, so that was, that's follow-up since, but
All right.
Councilor
I'll bring this up again, the town painting the lines for parking at KMCC. I still believe there should be 2 parking spaces in the very middle that should be made into a crosswalk. It's very difficult for someone in a wheelchair to cross that parking lot. They have to go all the way to the end and around. Like you come from the school across that crosswalk there in a wheelchair, but you can't get to the building.
Yeah, you've made that comment before, and I don't know where that has gone. I don't think it's been mentioned there, and I don't know. Aaron, did you consider that in the painting?
No, that First time hearing, I believe, about this.
No, it's not.
So,
Because I even drew you a sketch and handed you the sketch and you said, I'll take this and I'll bring that up to the boys to see if we can do it. So it's not the first time you're hearing of it.
so should the accessibility committee just make a recommendation on this as well, just to give it some more?
Should it just be done?
Well, no, it should be done, but I'm just sort of thinking about, like, I don't know whose responsibility is to decide whether or not you give up parking spaces, for example. Like, we think it's a good idea, but is it our decision to make, I guess is my question. Or is it the committee,
Well, we could do some political.
governance committee? Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking.
Just say if you don't want to put this in, then you can pay for your own lines and signs. It's really easy.
I think they'd be in tune with that anyway. being-
I think it's more of an oversight, I really do. Now that
Yeah,
we've seen
yeah,
it, and when
yeah,
someone
no,
brought it up
that's
here, I
fine.
think that makes perfectly good sense.
So what the status of the lines have been painted now, they're done, but could they be reviewed and,
We painted arrows. So
okay, the
we added
parking,
directional arrows. They've repainted the stop line on the exit. And they added hashing so that the exit no longer feels like a two-way.
Right.
It visually looks like a one-way now.
Mhm.
So we haven't even talked about doing any line painting as far as all the parking spots. Now, if you wanna add hashing, we can
That's
certainly do that.
basically all you need to do.
If that's what folks want, we can do
You have to
that.
put hash marks on 2 spots,
Yeah.
one here, one here. That would be it.
Yeah, easy to do, we can do it quick, we just need the green light to do it.
Can we just leave this with staff? We'll put it on the action list so it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, 'cause I do think it has to go to that board or the rink board that it's being done, and there is the loss of the parking spaces, if that's what you're doing. You should know
We'll
where to go.
we'll take care of that too. Just, we'll put it on the action list.
That's a great idea, Jen, thank you.
Okay, anything else of the KMCC? And let's move on then to the Kings Point to Point, and I see Councillor Goddard uses a different format for his report than the other two.
Good on you, Chris.
The staff lunch was today and it was wonderful. I had, chicken Alfredo, nice garlic bread, and there was all sorts of other stuff to go with it. It's a really good event for morale. It's one thing I've noticed at Point to Point. In the last 2 years, morale has improved dramatically. And it's these kind of events. And the puzzle table helps. They have a puzzle table in the office. When they get stressed, they go and do a bit of puzzle.
So if you see a finished puzzle, you know it's been a rough week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do have some rough weeks.
Any questions, comments on that one?
I have a question.
Councillor Clacken?
And it's not really on his report, but a question that sort of came up in a conversation I had with someone else. So is Kings Point to Point sort of oversubscribed? Can they meet all of the requests that come through, or?
No, they have to prioritize. Like a triage idea.
Yeah.
The more important ones get dealt with, and there are contracts, like the school contract. That takes priority. We haven't been doing a lot of, tours because we just don't have the availability. The other stuff is more important. But if we can get a few more drivers in there, we are looking at doing, like weekend tours.
Okay, no, there was something that came up, well, in a discussion I was having at Evangeline Club today. Whereas the facilities like New Visions and Liberty Lodge are moving, their residents into new, like new settings because of the legislation change around housing for people with disabilities. That fewer of their clients are coming to Evangeline Club because they're no longer in a situation where they have rides, etc. Transportation's an issue. But also the other question, so it just was a question.
Yeah.
Though those clients likely don't have the financial resources.
That's right, if they don't have support from one of the organizations that does have,
Yeah,
they're kind of out in the cold.
yeah, no, so,
Yeah.
but I just wondered if, there was capacity for more, if there was.
We do work with a fair assistance program. The RTA gives us X number of dollars and we aren't able to spend it all. We have a hard time getting people to ride on our bus for free. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
People, the RTA gives us this money and we end up, and that's become an issue with us, that we're trying to give this money back and we can't. Really?
so there
And then
is,
it affects what we get the following year.
so there is some capacity for transportation for people who need that support
Yes.
transportation.
Yes,
Who don't have their own funds.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on that one? Yeah, let's move on to PAC, Deputy Mayor Woods.
We had our planning advisory committee on the 7th of October. Everybody was there. Crystal did her site plan approvals and, in province, things are gonna be changing. She does, so when that came fully into effect. We learned about our public petition program policy. Jen went through that with us. And there were some changes that had come back to us and they're listed on the attached report, guys. So then the changes will come to you guys. And the only one I left off because I didn't know was the staff recommended section, which is also on our motion report thing, so. We'll go over that. The thing that really got me, of course, was orientation and training opportunities. Just, it's feast or famine with PAC. You can have a lot or a development agreement, then we're there a lot, and sometimes it's not, we're just reviewing. So we had some things that we can do, so we can review the terms of reference. I think that'll be a very good thing. Application process, we did not understand it sometimes, how it works here. So that went into town staff and their roles with it. And of course, the floodplain mapping. So when we're hearing about other ones, finish up with the floodplain mapping with you guys, it certainly interests us because we would be interested. So those are some good topics. And I think for next meeting, we're going to start with the review of the terms of the record for the committee. I think just happens to be one we have. So it was well attended. And then we'll get through these ones and see if there's any more we can do. And that's great. It's just keeping us active every month. So I'm very happy with how the meeting went. And any questions? I certainly.
Questions or comments? There was good discussion by the committee members of things that to talk about and do. Okay, next one, Kings Remo. So at Kings Remo, but usually by the time you've left the parking lot or just around that time, Dan has sent out the results from the meeting, which is document.
There.
Who needs any on when you've got Dan Stowe?
They're home before I am.
Yeah. So, anyway, so you can see it's just as easy to forward that and leave that, but I did want to mention, we've already have that Dan is retiring. May be available for some teaching and certainly gonna be missed and yeah, it'd be a tough act to follow, but the good part for somebody new coming in, everything is in place pretty much. He's done a lot of work, so yeah, good luck to him in his retirement.
How will he keep himself busy?
I think his wife will have something to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on then. The Regional Enterprise Network, LOC, Councilor Davis.
It's pretty well all there. another supplementary meeting with Ren this morning. Emily met with us out here in the office and basically she went back through exactly what we talked about at the LOC. And basically reinforcing it, but they are looking at future opportunities under business retention and expansion. And of course, the market levies are some challenges in getting everybody to agree to a levy. And there will always be challenges, so I think they just gotta decide and do it and see what comes back. That's what they had to do up in Cape Breton when I was involved in that. There is going to be a meet and greet at the with the Ren board, November 27th. You might want to keep an eye out for that. And next Ren LOC meetings on January 12th. Well, they had 2025, but I changed that to 2026. So, other than that, let's see if we can find opportunities. Let's see what we can do, and let's try to get the Ren working for not only the town of Berwick, but all of the region. Annapolis County is contemplating coming in, but we'll see.
Any questions then? Comments?
I see it was a new template, which I enjoy, so I'm.
Yeah, there's the, yeah. Okay, and the last one is Valley Regional Services Board meeting. Again, that's the former King's Transit and former Valley Waste.
Tidal Transit.
It's called now, called Tidal Transit is the,
TTA.
yeah. So name change there. Key things come out of that. They agreed to change the funding and redirect the money to purchase 7 hybrid diesel electric buses. So the full electric is now gone by the wayside. It's the hybrids and lots of challenges with bus routes and the maintenance of the buses, and this will really help solve some of that. The other thing to note is that the new extended producer responsibility program kicks in December 1st. And the contract with Circular Materials will be, you probably won't notice any change, but it'll be a change for Valley Waste for sure. One of the things that will change is the semi-annual pickups will now be bi-weekly. So the large curb stuff, you can put it out every couple of weeks. But they'll see the educational material, there'll be flyers coming out on how this whole thing changes and works. The other piece that's a bit of a challenge too is that so they had a tender as to who would take recycling, and the company that does it now for Valley Waste did not win, Scotia Recycling. So there's that facility there that will not continue to do what they've been doing. So there's conversations about what could be done there to be.
Where's that
To be determined. Well, it's the one that's more up on the hill.
Oh,
So when you turn where you can unload your stuff and you look up on the hill and you see, that's where they do all the sorting and the processing of the recycling things.
Okay.
So that company that is on Valley Waste property, but is a separate company with a separate building, no longer has the contract to do that, because it went to a bigger outfit provincially with this new company that's responsible for picking it up.
Which is exciting. I remember taking Barry back to school, they were going there with the kids. It was quite an eye opener for myself and the kids when you went through and saw everything they were sorting.
Yeah.
I've never been up on the hill to see that part, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
like
was an
pretty cool.
interesting, yeah, chance to go in and see how they do that. if you're-
Yeah.
if you're under tour. Any questions on that?
So I would assume we're gonna see new branding material coming out for Tidal Transit
Yes,
the next bit too, yeah,
yes, absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
Has through that Collier's report,
is there any new news on their looking for a facility, like for a new home for King's Transit, possibly in a place that has their own electric commission and runs alongside the tidal transit route?
So that, there has been much more conversation on that because of, they aren't moving to the full electric buses.
Gotcha.
But that's not to say that, the report did mention that they need a new facility.
Yeah.
So if they do and the board goes ahead, what will that look
Yeah.
like and where will that be? Yet to be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, hybrids are still electric too, right? Like there's still hope, so.
yeah.
Gas stations in Thirty Lake too.
Yeah.
Or any indications as to, the ridership that's going on with those, Mike, are we up, down?
Ridership is up, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up. Some challenges that impacted that has been some route closures because of buses breakdowns. But it's been up, it's up slightly, yeah.
Okay. Now, would that be part to some of the trails were closed? Like I keep saying I'm gonna bike to work, I'm close enough, but once they closed the road, I felt so safer on the trail that nothing was gonna hit me where being on the side of the road, a vehicle might. So I'm just wondering if that was part of it.
That's never been mentioned. Some of the challenges that impact ridership are, timing and not staying on schedule.
Yeah.
So people can't trust it, so they don't take it. You gotta be to work and it's never on time. That seems to be one of the challenges and certainly the route closures have been a challenge in places that's just, you can't count stats if the bus isn't running there. So those numbers will drop, but, they've done some things to the student program, helped promote it with students and they've done some different things to
Where
increase
they get the
ridership.
bus rates during the summertime, a flat rate for the kids if they wanted, I remember that.
Yeah, it's a reduced rate of some
Yeah.
kind. Yeah. Okay, I think that's the extent of our committee reports. Let's move on to the mayor's report. See the items that attended. I can say that the October 28th meeting on the boxcar project did not happen today. So that's one thing that we were hoping to get some renewed interest in that. And from some other people that were involved, perhaps as artisans, and did have a meeting scheduled, but they weren't ready, I guess, leave it at that, to just come and meet, so. We're ready for them if they want to have some discussions on what we might be able to do there, but.
Well, seeing the boxcars took me back to when we asked about the roof being checked out. Have we ever got an update on that? Like we talked about possibly painting it and then.
Can you give us an update on the maintenance piece of that and what's been done, the work was being done and what the status of those boxcars
Sorry,
are?
guys, it takes something for me to see that, to
No,
jog the
that's
memory to
fine,
go
that's
back, so I don't go to circle back at this point, but that's.
We are waiting on the contractor to complete the build there. Is unfortunately where that stands.
Okay.
Yeah, with a little bit more detail, but that's it. I mean, the wheels and the track that the wheels go on need to be completely replaced. The contractor replaced the track and bought new wheels, but they're not sufficient to hold the weight of the door. The door is heavier than anticipated. So he's now reworking the track that the wheels ride on, and it again, that's kind of where they're at as of.
Is the track for the doors?
Thursday. Yeah.
Okay, so not the track that the cars are sitting on.
No,
Okay, so we don't need a crane to fix this.
there's
Okay,
an upper track that the door slides on,
okay.
and long story short, the door is heavier than I think he figured it was, so he's having to rework it a bit. Hopefully soon, but I know we've been saying that well, I've been asking for weekly updates since August. So it is in the works.
The only other thing I would add in the mayor's report that is not there is Movember. And I'm gonna participate in Movember and Roger's participating in Movember, and I don't know, Aaron, are you participating in Movember? You're already well underway there, but.
I haven't been told, but I'll be shaving, November first, so.
Yeah.
Maybe I
okay.
might get a haircut too.
Oh, wow, yeah, yeah. So there's, Roger's created a bit of a promotion on that, you'll see that come out, and there's the site that you can make donations and
Yeah, I'll do
have some fun with that. Okay, if there's no other questions, we do not, oh, there is, okay, Councilman.
I was just wondering on your October 23rd, meeting with Emily, Chris Palmer, if there was anything else, from that meeting that we might wanna just pump out tonight that we haven't been through already.
Not really. I continue to mention to him the importance of some things that we've been working on, like the library, funding. We did talk a little bit about the cabinet shuffle and the impact of that. That was primarily what that was about. And especially in lieu of the work that we've done with the Minister of Energy, who's no longer the Minister of Energy, and the Premier is, and what impact that will have. So he does hope to follow up with the Premier as the Minister to keep our work on track. That is the bulk of it.
Yeah, I missed that shuffle and I didn't hear about that until this afternoon.
Mhm. Well, one of the ministers that was shuffled out is now left and
Yeah,
setting up.
that's how I heard.
So it's,
Former Attorney General.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting what may be going on down there. Okay, so there is no in-camera session, so we can move right to item number 11, which sometimes is our favorite item. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Councilor Sereno and second by Councilor Deputy Mayor Lutz. Okay, thank you all very much.